shows a disrespect to the democracy created by both parties.
He's like making a MockeRacy of the whole fucking process.
And it's like, dog,
pause for 1 second. You just made up an amazing word.
MockeRacy?
You meant to say a mockery, but you said he's making a MockeRacy of all this.
Damn, it is a fucking MockeRacy.
When it's a mockery of politics,
it's a MockeRacy.
It's a MockeRacy. This is a MockeRacy, Daddy.
I know this is not my show, but can that be the title of the show?
One goal, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. And it's real niggas do real fucking thing.
If you ever drive through Georgia, like you get out of Atlanta, because people just think about Atlanta, like how people think of Louisiana, they think of New Orleans. If you drive through just the sliverest, if you get out of Atlanta in the slightest bit, you're going to see some Confederate flags. Period. So, an interesting thing in seeing mostly racist state turn blue is when you have to take in that, so these racists, which a lot of them are conservative racists, Donald Trump must be too much for them. Because you got to think about it. We often associate Donald Trump with the radical racists. But they got a lot of conservative motherfuckers that are not even, don't even consider themselves racist, but they probably normally will go Republican. That when they look at Trump and how cavalier, how cowboy he is, that turns on a certain base, but it also turns off a certain base. A lot of those closeted racists feel just a little bit more comfortable with Sleepy Joe, regardless if they voted Republican previously.
Sleepy Joe.
They're, of course, the white folks who are like, will never ever truly say that I'm racist.
Who does?
But let Tyrone,
find me one who does. Racists don't even have the time claiming.
But let Tyrone come home with your daughter, and you'll find out just how racist they truly is.
Yes, Brian, I'll marry you.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Brian. We'll be upstairs.
Yo, Rita, you want in on this?
No, thanks. We just got engaged. I'm faithful to Brian now.
Whatever. This ain't even my whole night.
What Trump has done for a lot of Republicans in his 4 years here has really, he's made the country look weak. And the one thing about Republicans that I know a lot about...
Dependent upon perspective.
It's been said from other countries.
Oh, how shitty we look.
Yeah, and how weak we look as a country. We're like, because we're so divided. You know what I'm saying? And so the one thing that Republicans want more than that, like the hard-grown, old school, not like closeted racists, of course they're racist.
We're talking about Americans.
Yeah, what they want more than anything else is this country to always remain strong.
The superpower.
Yeah, the superpower. And with Trump being the thing, even though he talks superpower, he makes us look super weak.
He'll go even worse than weak. Stupid.
Stupid. And the thing is, since this election, and even with the ballots right now, he's making them more and more look more and more stupid.
Trump said he could shoot someone in the middle of Fifth Avenue and get away with it.
No, I don't think so.
He did say that.
No, he didn't. No.
It's on tape.
No, I don't believe it.
I could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay?
Fake news. Fake news.
He said I grabbed women by the pussy. You're a liar. He said it on tape.
If Jesus Christ gets down off the cross and told me Trump is with Russia, I would tell him, hold on a second. I need to check with the president if it's true.
You know, that's kind of the way we've gone. I don't think there's a chance of coming together. I think that the ideas are so different. If you look at what's happened in the last 2 years since the midterms, nothing. It's just all been everyone in their corner and whatever we can do to spoil the other party or the other side. And I think that's going to get worse, not better.
You really played on intelligence of people. Now on top of that, you start insulting the people. Like even though the state is turning blue, like these are still some of your key fan base of people. You know what I'm saying? So you insulted them. You basically said that they were stupid. You know what I'm saying? You call the whole...
Let's be real.
Who has a Trump insulted?
He's been literally killing them the last couple of weeks with all of these damn super spreader ass rallies.
The truth.
Yeah, he's like...
Or freezing them.
Yeah, I remember he had one out there for like 8 hours. In the cold.
That was one. He's done that twice to people.
Yeah.
And he's literally killing his own followers. And it's wondering why he's not winning.
But the president heard while he was on the golf course, stayed on the golf course, we're told. We don't know anything about how the golf... There he goes. And then we have some pictures of him when he arrived back at the White House. You saw that scene there. Thousands and thousands of people out cheering. Well, he drove past that on the way, and that's a photo that will, that'll probably be one that lives for a while.
And that's what kind of kills me when they get into the talks about they're both the same. Biden and Trump are the same. And I'm like, bro, y'all be having to pull out shit this Biden did like 20 years ago to fight shit that Trump doing now.
one thing Biden did in the debate that I respected, that he said, yeah, bro, that shit was wrong. You know what I'm saying?
One of the things is that in the 80s, we passed 100%, all 100 senators voted for it, a bill on drugs and how to deal with drugs. It was a mistake. They should not be going to jail for a drug or an alcohol problem. They should be going into treatment. That's what we've been trying to do. That's what I'm going to get done, because I think the American people have now seen that, in fact, it was a mistake to pass those laws relating to drug. But they were not in the crime bill.
When has Trump ever conceded a wrongdoing?
He can't concede to racism.
He can't concede to the smallest things.
The man's a narcissistic sociopath. He's unable to.
Yeah.
Literally unable to.
Yeah.
So when you say how he's killing people at his rallies, he killed thousands of Americans just off of his COVID. Hundreds of thousands of Americans just off of his COVID response.
Actually, it's closer to 250,000.
Oh my fucking God. So when people want to talk about, they both just white men, it's like, my nigga, like, this nigga, like, it's like when we speak of the lesser of two evils, I would rather the lesser have the power than the person that's counted as the greater. That's
I mean,
the
you
thing.
got one person who's saying, let's come together, and another person saying divide.
Should a hoe for your whole party, bigger than the one I blew through, cause I'm solar money, Then I go and bone on Melania, I'm gonna smash you, Joe. I've got all the best cognition with all the top grammar. I'm not a little girl's shoulders, so you can't touch this MC stammer. You're a disaster inciting hysteria. You say I'm selling hate in America, you're selling hate in America. Like with Hillary, the people aren't swayed, just Barack's shadow, and I don't really like the shade.
The pain of losing loved ones is something I have seen. So I know how you must have felt when they killed Jeffrey Epstein. Rap lyrics just ain't for you. You should stick love letters for Kim Jong-un. You're a wrestling heel. Nothing about you's real. Bitch, you didn't even really write the art of the deal. But you tapped into the rage of red Mad Hatters. Well, let me tell you, Trump, all lives matter. No matter what you try to say, global warming ain't cancer. You pulled out a parachute, should've pulled out a Stormy Daniels. I ain't sleepy, I'm tired of you, Donald Trump. You're fine.
There's certain things that become these easy talking points for you to be able to say, so you can kind of sound or think you sound smart. You know what I'm saying? A lot of things that a lot of the contrarians have said about Biden to get, because sometimes y'all be saying this shit and I'm like, so you going for Trump? No, I'm not going for Trump. I'm just, then why the fuck are you even talking about this shit?
Right,
you know what I mean?
That is my fundamental issue with all that shit, because it's like the conversation that you're trying to have, that would be valid if we had two great candidates.
Right.
Like, if we had two very, very good presidential candidates,
then we can talk about dirt.
Then you can talk about dirt. But it's like, what's the fucking alternative?
Kanye.
Right.
Then when you fucking say, are you gonna vote for Donald? And they say, well, no, I ain't gonna vote for him. Then what the fuck are we even talking about?
Because at the end of the day, they lazy asses ain't gonna vote at all, and that's a whole nother conversation.
Real talk, I think some of them are gonna vote, but the thing is, they just want to have this.
Some are, but a lot won't. I think a lot of them just.
I ain't gonna lie, they did say the numbers. They said, like, even though there was a record-breaking number of voting this year, that's more than ever, they did do a tally and saying that there were also millions of people who just didn't vote. Like, like 60 something million people that just didn't vote.
I mean, I was fine in the beginning. I can overlook, and I'm okay with the blatant racism and the crass sexism and the deranged narcissism and pandering to Nazis and supporting pedophiles and
proudly bragging about being a sexual predator and paying your mistress to have an abortion and openly cheating your employees and mocking the disabled and praising murderous dictators and the constant pathological lying.
The petty vindictive cruelty, the staggering ineptitude, the unapologetic corruption, the nepotism, the mob ties, the calculated mendacity, ignorance as to how American government works, encouraging violence against those that question your authority, the theft of our tax dollars to pay off your mountain of debt and or go golfing. Did I mention the relentless lying? You're a liar. Being a white nationalist, demonizing immigrants, the obvious disregard of the Bill of Rights, lying about whether Russia had hacked our election when you knew all along it had, then lying about it, the collusion with our sworn enemy and the sworn enemy of democracy, your dereliction of duty, your treasonous activities, and I was with you when you cheated on your wife with that porn star, the one you compared favorably to your daughter. You cheated on your wife, not the wife you raped, but the current wife who had just given birth to your son. And of course, I was with you when we found out you cheated with the Playboy Playmate, the one you compared favorably to your daughter. Not with the wife you have now, but the second wife whose kid you ignore. And of course, I was with you, President Trump, when you took the babies away, you took infants breastfeeding, literally breastfeeding from their mothers and fathers, the families who had made this arduous trek to come here and seek asylum. They just wanted to seek asylum, and you took them and you deported the parents and you took them and separated them, sent the kids 100 miles away in a disused Walmart inside of a cage with armed guards pointing guns at them.
laugh at as those toddlers sob and whimper in absolute terror, traumatized for life. Of course I was with you with that. But this last omnibus spending bill is where I draw the line.
Number one, he's already declared that he's the winner a few times. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he has to appear strong for it.
But the thing is, you don't do that. You don't do that. Like even Mitch McConnell has spoke against that. It was like, it's not, you like, basically saying you won and to tell people to stop counting the votes because you don't want votes to come in around 4 in the morning. You want, you know, like, or in the states that you're winning in, you want them to keep counting votes. Dog, not only that, it shows that you're a loser and that you're going out as a sucker, but it's just showing that, like, the places that, like, let's say where you have Republicans that just didn't make the vote for you, you're basically calling them losers as well, that they didn't get the job done for you. So you're basically shitting on the whole voting process on it. And while he's doing that, he's making lawsuits. Throwing out lawsuits against every place that he, like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin.
Yeah, he's at this morning. It was 10 lawsuits. 4 of those have been thrown out because he has literally no evidence of.
I don't imagine
of anything.
I mean it, especially those moments, and especially for those moments when this campaign was at its lowest ebb. The African American community stood up again for me. You've always had my back, and I'll have yours.
Bruh, we could really make some true changes for at least a good 4 years in this bitch.
Well, the stage would be set for it, but I think even the change would still be limited.
Yeah, honestly, like, there's this meme that says, I'm not voting for anything in particular, I'm voting against something. I don't have this wealth of optimism necessarily, even with, like, I feel like Biden and Kamala are going to be better than what we got.
That's
but
what it is.
As far as a lot of the fundamental wrongs with our country, that's not going to change under this regime because oftentimes, man, like, I haven't heard a president yet talk about the systemic issues within the country, within the government that needs like actual changing, like of the guard, whether it's these no term limits on a lot of these House and Senate seats and shit, where we talking about the actual topic of systemic racism and what do you actually plan on doing to offset that shit.
No president ever talked, well, no politician really ever, they might talk about it, but they never put it into action, and that's fundamental change.
Fundamental
like,
changes.
They never change like the base rules.
And it's because that means you gotta flip all that shit on his head. And that's gonna change a lot of shit when you do that. Like the thing is the system is supposed to be built to where like it keeps fixing itself. But the machine is like you just update it. But the machine stays the machine. Most
presidents get in their first 4 years kind of fighting against what the last motherfuckers did, and in the last 4 years they kind of do something, but a lot of time, and at the same time having the job of being president, of handle all these things, because the country is always in debt, and I mean that not just financially, I mean in all regards. Every president comes in with a bunch of shit that he's running behind on. That's a crazy ass job to take on, my nigga.
Oh, yeah, niggas
so
niggas trash
everything, you know what I mean? America's always in debt. So I think, and that's the thing, it's hard for a human being to take in, oh, let me fix this fundamental shit when the country's never right.
Well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Telling the truth matters. Being a good person matters. And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason. It's a vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, the I can't breathe. You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe. Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know, and you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you, and you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters.
even if you had that in your heart to fix, you couldn't get that done in 8 years. You couldn't even get to it in 8 years because you're so busy having all these other things to do. So when we talk about Biden and Kamala coming in, yeah, it's gonna be better than Trump. But
I think it's gonna be better than what we think it's gonna be.
I don't know.
Whatever change.
I think Kamala gonna make some great.
Like,
we'll see, but I think we're moving in the right direction. But it would be foolish of me to ever believe that there'll be this seismic change in society.
No.
Fuck no, dog.
You know what I'm saying?
Whatever change Joe Biden brings is gonna be a very incremental thing.
But it's an increment we need.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a needed increment though. It's some needed increments.
Put it on there. Put it on the
You hear
books.
me?
But I mean, just everybody mitigate your expectations.
One goal, one thing, one rule, man, that shit don't change. And it's real niggas do real fucking things.